Hello everyone, this is Direwolf20 and welcome to episode 53 of Direwolf20's Let's Play series. I have a pretty exciting build, I think, today to work on. So as we mentioned at the end of last episode, these drives are getting relatively full. I do have this empty one right here, and I set up this nifty little level emitter so that it emits a redstone signal pretty much whenever I want to, based on whether or not there's a drive in here. Now if I wanted to, I could switch this guy to when are above or equal. I want to do when below or equal to, so that way when there's a drive in there, the signal's off. When there's a drive not in there, the signal's on. That's kind of what I want to do. So we're going to play with this a little bit, and this episode, what I'd like to work on primarily is building an automated drive crafting system that will probably last a while. It's not going to last forever, but it should last us a really long time, and we shouldn't have to worry about the storage in our AE network for really quite a while. So we're going to start working on that today. That's what I'm going to get started on, actually, right now. So I'm going to clear out some of this stuff because I actually want to rearrange the way I built this between last episode and this one. So because I went around and played with this a bit and said, you know what, it works, but it's not exactly how I want it to be. So I've decided to change it up, and as a result of changing it up, we should wind up with a slightly more compact and enjoyable system. So while I'm here, let me get out some more smart cable. Hopefully I have some of that. Oh, nope, I'm going to have to craft it. 10, I'm missing Certus quartz crystal, really? Redstone, glowstone, and wool? Oh, right, yes, because I just picked up all my drives. Oh, Dyer, you're such a derp. For the time being, I'm going to leave one of these drives up here just so I can access my network. I'm like, hey, why don't I have anything? Oh, right. There we go. Now I should be able to request some smart cable. I might even have some. Yeah, I do. Hooray! So, now that I have access to my stuff... Oh, Direwolf. What am I going to do with me? Let's get building. So we're going to place down. I'm going to run this stuff right down here. And I'm going to have a ME drive right here. Okay. Now that I've got that kind of positioned, I can move this thing. And I will briefly place all this stuff in here. It doesn't really matter which drive these go in, remember. There we go. This guy is still priority 0, and this guy is priority 0, so that's fine. So now we've got the drives hooked up, we should be able to interact with things. I would actually like to make 3 more ME drives. So let's do that. ME drive just requires calculation processors, so I'm going to need like 6 diamonds or so, but I'm going to make a dozen just so I have a few extras. While that's cooking up, I'm going to want some storage buses, which I don't know that I've automatedly craft. Storage bus, piston, and sticky piston. Alright, have I taught the system yet how to make pistons and sticky pistons? I have not. Let's do that. How am I for blank stuff? Alright, so let's do pistons, encode, sticky pistons, encode, and while I'm here I might as well do the storage bus because you know what? I'm probably going to use these guys eventually down the line, and we can throw them into one of the interface guys. Beautiful. And now I should be able to request storage buses. I'm going to want 3 more. Yes, that sounds about right. So you get to craft in that. In the meantime, these guys should have mostly completed. At least the exact amount that I need, which works. Cool. Craft me a few of these, would you? Thanks. Beautiful. And down into the system we go. Boom, boom, boom. And remember, these guys will share their network channels. So you'll notice that briefly here, this thing should update. And ta-da! We've got all these guys set up. Now, underground is where I'm going to set up that subnetwork of storage buses. So didn't I have 2 storage buses, and what did I do with them? Because I only have 3 on me at the moment. Oh, right, there they are. They just didn't stack together. That's okay, they are now. So onto the bottom of these guys will go my storage buses, and we are, of course, going to need some cable here, so let's do that. Nice. And remember, we're also going to want to make sure that we don't have these storage buses connected to the main network, so I'm going to use the quartz cable, which transmits power but not data. So you'll notice that when I connect these guys up, we're using 5 channels on this network, but because this quartz is here, it's not using any channels in our main network, and we can't access the items through here. So this is kind of its own separate little network. With me so far? Cool. Then we're going to have this guy, and we're going to have an empty storage bus, so hopefully I've got one of those. This guy's got 2 types on it. So let's go tell this guy move to output when full. That should do. That should empty him, but not move him to the output. And then we'll go back to this, move to output when empty. Cool. And this thing will be configured when less than or equal to 1. So there we go. So we put this empty drive in here, and boom, done. Nice. I'm going to put the empty drive on the bottom right. So when the empty drive is in there, no signal being emitted. When there are no empty drives in there, we emit a signal. With me so far? Cool. While I'm at it, let's grab ourselves something to get us more 4K drives. So we're going to need an interface. Start. And we're also going to need an interface crafting card so that the interface can craft for us. So let's get that empty drive out of here. And we're going to pop the interface down right about here, because we do want it to be on the network with the main everything, right? So this is on the main network. It has access to everything in the AE system that normally, you would have access to. So if I were to place a 4K storage cell right here, it should start crafting one for me after I install the crafting upgrade card, which goes there. So if we check on one of these 4K guys, he should be a crafting. Or maybe we already had one in the A network, so it's not crafting. Oh, we did. Okay, cool. So we've got a 4K drive in there. If we pull this out, now it should start crafting one, because we already had one sitting around. And is my magnet on? No, good. All right, so you are the one doing the crafting. Cool. So he's working on making what we want to make. I like it. So while that cooks up, I will be back to show you guys the next stage of this build. Alright, we're back. So as you can see, our 4K storage cell is now happily sitting in there. So let's take a look at what we're going to do here. So I'm going to pop a 4K storage cell in there. That should turn off the redstone signal. Now, to the back of these guys, we're going to add some item conduits. Sweet. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's what I like to see. We're going to configure the up one to extract when there's a redstone signal. We're going to configure the south side to insert. We're going to configure the south side to not channel brown, insert, insert, and insert. So check this out. Remember that these nifty, smart little conduits here will insert into the nearest available inventory. When a redstone signal is applied to this guy, he's going to extract the 4K drive out of this interface and drop it right into this ME drive, which the storage cell will then detect that there's an empty 4K storage cell in there, and it will tell the emitter to turn off. Let's watch what happens. You ready? I'm going to make sure that all my empty 4K drives are in the AE network. So let's see. How many empty 4K drives do we have? One extra one in there. Cool. Plus that one. So when I remove this 4K drive, ta-da! A blank one goes in. Sweet. You'll notice that this thing turned off. Now if I remove this and watch real quick, see how the redstone signal was on for just a brief second, and it went ahead and created a new one, or put a new one in there? And the AE system is probably currently crafting. You can see this thing was on for a second. We're probably dropping some crystals in there. So it's crafting yet another 4K drive for us. So with this configuration, we shouldn't have to worry about storage for a long time. All we have to do is leave it alone. Like, we're done. That's it. Game over. Completed. This is a finished build. We could expand this 2 more drives, not 3 more. And I'll explain why. Not because of the interface, because we do have plenty of channels up here. If we wanted to expand this by 2 more drives, which would really be pretty straightforward to do, we would then finish up all the channels that are available on this subnetwork down here, because we're using 5 for the storage buses monitoring the ME drives here, and then we're using 1 for the level emitter. Cool. So I think 5 drives will last us for a long time. And, if we ever get to the point where we have 5 full drives, all full 4K things, and we're like, all right, we need more space, then we'll address that in a future episode. But for now, I think we're actually okay. So let's get some cable facades done and done. 1, 2. We can go ahead and put an empty 4K drive in here, and we'll even pull this one out. It doesn't need to be there, but this 4K drive is there. We'll have a couple 4K drives in the ME network, and I just want to check on the crafting process of this thing. Looks like it's still working on pure Certus for us. And we are in good shape. So yeah, that is a fully automated fill these drives up thing. So there's no sense in wasting the resources we have at the moment to do this. It'll just, consecutively add drives. And as soon as the drive that's in here gets the first item placed in it, a new empty drive will go in. And then as soon as this drive gets an item placed in it, a new empty drive will go in, and so on and so forth. Pretty cool, right? I thought you guys might like that. So we'll leave that as is, and let's go check on our quarry. It should be crafting, and then when it finishes its crafting, I'll go ahead and put these 2 blank drives away, and that'll just be a nice little backlog for us. Oh, it's nighttime. I should probably not be here. No, that's all right. I think I have my sleeping bag on me. Cool. So how's the quarry doing? You'll notice that I killed some of the water that was here because it kind of did go through a river. I needed to do a little bit of manual intervention for that. But let's go ahead and tell the quarry to do something. I'd like another cycle here, please. So frame. At some point, I'll make frame the startup mode thing. Let's see. Cycle and next cycle. I think what next cycle does is I made this so that if the frame gets stuck at some point, like say it got all the way down to bedrock and then came halfway up and I closed out of the game or something, or the server crashed or whatever, right? Next cycle will tell it to, it's the same as cycle basically, but it skips the first bedrock step. So it basically says go back up to the top and move forward 8. So that just gets it ready for the next cycle. But we can run cycle here now. Let's see, refresh coordinates and cycle. There we go. And it's off and away to do its mining. At some point, like I said, I'll probably expand this guy to be a chunk wide instead of 8 blocks wide, and then all I have to do is add on to the cycle command, make it go instead of forward 8 times, it will move forward 16 times, and then it'll mine, twice as fast, basically. And theoretically, you could keep expanding that thing. If you want it to be 2 chunks, that's fine. You can keep going. You just have to keep going with ME controllers. That's all you'll need to do, because you'll have to keep in mind your channel needs. At some point, though, I will do that on camera, because the only tricky part with that is getting the second ME controller to dump its items into the first one's network. But it's not hard, but I want to make sure you guys see how to do it. So for now, let me get ready to start working on the next thing I want to do. But our ME system is pretty much self-sustaining for a while. We really don't have to worry about this. You'll see the ME 4K drive got crafted, and I'm going to throw the other blank ones in there so that now, anytime this thing starts to fill up, we'll be in good shape. All right, back in a few minutes. You know what? There's one more thing I want to do on my AE network while I'm thinking about it. So let's do this real fast. I noticed that I happen to have a ton of sugarcane. So I'm going to say 800 is the limit to sugarcane that I want to have. So let's remove this piece for a moment. I'm going to put on one of those ME toggle buses here. Remember this thing? And then we'll place our smart cable back on here. You'll notice that all of a sudden the annihilation planes are no longer working. That's what the toggle bus is for. We're going to hook up a thing here, and I think it's, if I do that, no, that is not what I wanted to do. I don't know that that's what I'm going to want out of this. I actually think I want him to be, sometimes sneaky to place these things. Alright, I got an idea. Let's do it like this. We'll put this thing here, and then we can place this guy here. With that and that. There we go. Cool. So that should have the device online. Now what we're going to do is put sugarcane in here, and we will say emit a redstone signal when less than 800 sugarcane. Cool. So you'll notice that this thing is currently off, the drive's not eating up the sugarcane. If I were to access my wireless terminal and pull this out so that we have less than 800 in here, everything should turn on. Cool. And now the thing's on, it'll keep running. And when I go ahead and put more than 800 sugarcane in there, all of a sudden it's off. Neat. So that's just a little bit of quick automation I thought you guys might like to see. It's a really useful way. I highly recommend doing this, especially on things like servers where your chunks are loaded all the time. You want to make sure that you're not constantly sucking sugarcane in, because you're going to log in one day and have like 10,000 sugarcane. Trust me, ask Soren. He does it all the time. He never builds automatic shutoffs on his automation systems, so I usually like to try and do that as best I can. Alright guys, there's another type of resource that I really don't have access to that's really easy to get. So I'm going to start working towards getting that. And I think I'd like a separate building for this concept build. So, number one, I have to come up with how I want the building to look, which you guys know I'm great at. And number two, I need to move this thing. So I emptied out all the materials that were in there that I cared about. There's a little bit of resident ender. There's not enough manual to get it out. It's 4 nuggets worth, so I really don't care. And there's a ton of blood, which I really don't care that much about. So break all the things. Oh, that was not a... That's not what I meant to do. Not even a little bit. So I'm going to clean up this area a little. I might wind up moving all of this stuff, but I'm not sure. I haven't decided where I want to put, you know, the... Now I need the hammer. Tinker stuff for the time being. But I'll come up with something soon. For now, I guess I could just grab a chest. And all the Tinker's stuff can go in there. That should work. That's everything, right? Yeah, looks good. And I'll be back in a minute. I want to do a little bit of terrain shaping, clean up some stuff. You can see, by the way, I added a little bit of haste to my excavator. Totally worth it. And we'll be back in a minute once I figure out what I'm doing. Alright guys, I picked out the block I want to use for this nifty little area that I'm going to build. I think I'm going to need at least a stack of it. Hopefully that's enough. Maybe 2 stacks. Yeah, let's do 2 stacks just to be safe. And I believe my chisel is hanging out in my blue bag. There it is. And the one I'm gonna go with here is the one that's called Black Futuristic Armor Plating Tiles. Not to be confused with the plating block. I like the tiles pattern a little bit better. I'm also going to want some carpenter's wedges. I'm going to want some glass. Oh, I don't have any of the good glass, huh? No clear glass hanging around? Maybe some over here? That's all right, I'll make some in a minute. You know what, let's request the crafting of glass. Let's get like 100. That ought to do. And while that's cooking up, what else am I going to need? A few things. Let's get the building built first. So, I decided this should be like right over here-ish. I don't have an exact spot laid out where I want it to be, but we're going to start building anyway. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is going to be a 7 by 7 building. In fact, I don't want the front covered up. That's where the glass is going to be. So let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Cool. That looks pretty half decent, right? Yeah. I might want a few pieces of dirt here just to... There we go. I'm probably going to replace this sand with dirt as well. That looks decent. And that'll grow into grass in just a minute. Cool. Let me get out from my backpack here my wand of equal trade. Where's my wand? It's probably left in the other area, isn't it? Yep, that's where it was. So I'm thinking I should be able to quickly and easily manage to replace the flooring here with a simple... Now this was supposed to be 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh. I must have miscounted. There we go. So that should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's what I wanted. Cool. So that's a 7 by 7 on the outside, right? Yeah. And then we will... Sweet. That worked pretty well. We got a little bit of the extra stuff, but that's okay. Alright, let's get this built upwards now. Decided I want it to be about this tall. So I'll finish building out this building, and there's a little bit more to it. I grabbed carpenter's blocks, don't forget. I'll be back in a minute when I'm ready. Alright guys, there's two things that I'm making here for this room, and it should be a giant hint as to what I'm working on it for. And you can see the room's pretty well laid out. Now there's a couple things that I want to show you and make sure you understand why I'm doing what I'm doing and how I'm doing it. So let's get first our precision sledgehammer, which I don't have on me apparently, so maybe it's in here. Nope, where's my precision sledgehammer? Grumble, grumble, grumble. There it is. So the reason I wanted to show you the precision sledgehammer is I have no idea why these are being rendered here. That's strange. Okay, so grinder. I think I wanted my grinder to pretty much sit here. And that's not the direction I want it to be in, so maybe I should just rotate you like so. If we take a look with our grinder there, you'll see that it is now fully encompassing the room. Nice. Still no idea those are there. So the grinder is grinding, and it's doing a pretty good job of it. Apparently it has some energy built into it. I don't know why. That's weird. I don't know where it got energy from either. I'm going to relog. Maybe I'm just having a weird bug. Alright, there we go. I got rid of that other weirdness. So in here is going to go an auto spawner. What this block does is you can capture mobs in Minefactory Reloaded's Safari nets, these guys, and you can put them in the auto spawner, and for the cost of energy plus mob essence, which I have a little bit of from when I had the grinder going over at my animal farm, you can spawn some mobs. Now we're going to have to set up a mob essence farm at some point so that we can continuously get lots and lots of mob essence. So this area will be expanded in the next coming episodes. But which mob do I want to capture? Well, you're going to have to wait and see. But before we set that up, there's still a couple things I want to do with this room. If we take a look at the sledgehammer, you'll notice that the range of the mob spawner is about 9-ish blocks. That's not good. That's not good at all. So let's see what we can do about that. Actually, is my math just like terrible on this, or is this thing okay? No, that sounds about right. I don't know why it seems like it's sticking out further here than back here. Maybe it's just my visual imagination. Doesn't it look like it's sticking out further? Yeah, that's weird. I don't know why that's doing that either. See, it's clearly one block in all directions, but it looks like here it's 2 blocks. Strange. Oh well, we'll see what happens. If I have to do something, I have to do something. But to prevent mobs from spawning on the outer edges of this room, which is what I was prepared for, I grabbed myself some carpenter's wedges. And we're going to just kind of treat this like a, hey, we want to make sure that stuff can't spawn out here, but at the same time, maybe it kind of looks like this is like support for the building, because it's going to be so dangerous. We need some support. What do you guys think? And of course, we're going to put Tyrion on it. I think that looks pretty cool, doesn't it? Sweet. So now the mobs should not be able to spawn out on those outer edges. They might spawn in the front here, but we'll deal with that if it actually happens, I suppose. Oh, I see what it is. Okay. Yeah, maybe I want this building to be 1 block forward more. That makes more sense, because there's no wall here. This is pretty much where the wall would be. So yeah, it is the right size. All right, I'm just derping. So maybe I want this building to be 1 block forward more. That might not be a bad idea. Let me do that, actually. There we go. Looks like I have just enough Tyrion to make this the case, but clearly I have to do a little bit more work with something, because I have to get the floor in here. So I'll be back in a minute. Let me craft more of this stuff, and then we'll build the next part of this build. Alright guys, just threw together the smeltery real quick in a nice compact manner because I needed some blank casts. What could I possibly need those for? I think you could probably guess. I love drawbridge doors, and I'm going to make some. Not only am I going to make some, but I'm going to make them out of thickened glass. Cool. You can see I also snug myself some red alloy wire. I should probably also make sure I have on me a lever to test this out. So the drawbridges can go there. We'll put the Tyrian blocks in with 1, 2, 3, 4, I think, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. That ought to do. And, you know what? That's right. I want them to be in one more. Well, where do I want these, really? Because if that goes up there, yeah, I'm going to want these to be in one further. So that'll hit the ceiling there. Or do I want them to be out further and have more like... See, that won't look right. Definitely not. Unless I bump it out further, even one further. Well, let's see how it looks like this. You guys can tell me what you think. The good thing about these drawbridges is that you can, they'll retain their inventory. There we go. And for the time being, I'll just do this. Eventually, of course, this will not be here. So, how does this look? See, that looks pretty cool. Yeah, I like that. And then what's the sledgehammer have to say? So it's potential for mobs to spawn on the front here, but I think what I'll wind up doing is having covers here or something, and then that won't be so much of a possibility. Yeah, let's do that actually. So I've got the covers ready, and I don't think they'll be able to spawn on top of covers, so I think what we'll wind up with then is us being safe. See, that looks good. Cool. If I put something like... Yeah, see, that'll look cool. I like that. What do you guys think? Hopefully that's good. We'll definitely want this thing to be somewhere, so let's say there. Now let's figure out how to get it there. We'll probably want... Can I do this? Let's sleep through the night real quick too. Alright, so what I was trying wasn't working. I was just kind of curious if it would. And it doesn't, so now I know. Let's do... Actually, let's run it down here. That ought to work. There we go, and then I should just need a cover there. Come on. I think it's because I'm in morph. There we go. Nope. There we go. Now we're talking. Look at that. Cool, right? So I should be able to put a lever here. Yeah. I like the looks of that. Doesn't that look neat? I definitely think it does. And then I can get in there if I need to, for whatever reason, which I shouldn't need too often once I get this all set up properly. But for now, I think we're in good shape. Alright guys, so the next stage of this build is going to require a couple different things. So we're probably going to have to wrap this up next episode, but there's a few things. Number one, grinder. Your job is to kill monsters, and you'll be creating mob essence, but it will cost more mob essence to spawn things than it will get from killing them. So we're definitely going to have to set up some kind of other system that will be generating mob essence for us. And that might be a another building next to this one. I haven't really fully decided how I want that to work out, but we'll definitely come up with something. But for the time being, we've got a little bit of mob essence that we can use just to get this thing kick-started and, test it out as a mechanic functionality. The other thing that the grinder's going to have to do, aside from creating mob essence, is he's going to be spitting items out the back here. So I'm probably going to want some kind of conduit or piping system to come out here and hit into a barrel or something so we can start collecting the items that we want to get. We're going to need a power system, so both of these things need power. This thing needs the essence piped into it, so there's a lot of moving parts. And then I'm also going to want an on-off switch for these things. If you apply, like all MFR machines, if you apply a redstone signal to this guy, he'll stop running. So we're definitely going to want some kind of redstone signal in here. So I think these machines are perfect for the Ender IO conduits because we'll want redstone, items, liquid, and power all going in and out of all these blocks. So should be a good time. And we'll probably want an off switch for the grinder. You don't really need one, to be honest, but you know what? Why not? I always like to have a set of stuff to do. So for now, Direwolf20 signing off. Hope you guys enjoyed the episode. We will be back next time to complete this grinder area. There's a couple things we want to get. To start off with, I'm going to be getting a certain type of mob, but we'll probably expand this thing's functionality so we can do stuff a little bit more interestingly later on. I have a couple ideas on what I might want to do in order for this thing to be somewhat automated. Last season, I built an MFR grinder that used computer craft. I'm going to try and do it without computer craft this time and see if I can manage to work it out. I think I've got an idea or two on how I could pull it off, where I could swap out the mob spawner type in here without using computer craft. Might be cool. All right, guys, take it easy.